Welcome to the Whiska Chicks podcast, where Amy and Suzie are two sisters that banter about random, relatable topics. What is a Whiska Chick? Well, it's a term our beloved Nana used for anything random, so instead of saying thingamajig or doodad, she would say Whiska Chick. We are here to have fun, a lot of laughs, and to spread joy and mindfulness. Give a listen. You may learn something or have an aha moment or two. We dedicate this creative endeavor to our Nana, whose most powerful saying was, be true to yourself. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Whiska Chicks podcast. I'm Suzie.
And I'm Amy.
And we have now arrived at episode 41.
Last one was 40? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought we went over 40. Anyway, see how I'm really paying attention. But anyway,
well, we did
41.
Today. We went over 40.
Well, I thought that was last time when we did, what did we do, Taurus last time? I thought it was. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I believe you. 41. Here we go.
Thank you. I'm the admin for the podcast. Believe me when I say it's 41. So, as you know, here at the Whiska Chicks podcast, Amy and I, if you haven't figured this out, we have repetitive jargon or our own language of things that we say and use. And one of those things that we say often is shift happens, because not because it's more fun than saying shit per se, but because shift really does happen. And so we thought it might be interesting and fun and relatable today to talk about the shift hitting the fan in the world right now, meaning, you know, there's been a giant boulder thrown into the calm waters of the world, and we all know who that boulder is, and there's just, the whole world is just shifting around this, but it's not in a positive manner, and it's affecting humanity, and so we thought we just would chat about that a little bit today.
Yep, and we just love, you know, a good play on words. Shift happens, you know, and when the shift hits the fan, we love a good play on words, so.
Got to take a big shift.
Every day, man.
But when the shift does hit the fan, or when shift does happen, and we have a whole podcast episode on responding and not reacting. So really the things that come to mind are, how do we shift ourselves? Because the global shifting seems like sort of a large undertaking to have a hand in. But so how do we shift ourselves in a world where the shift is hitting the fan? That's what this is about.
Because if we don't shift while the shift is hitting the fan, then nothing's ever going to change. I mean, if we can all shift one at a time, you know, eventually the whole collective will shift. But I think that the shift that's hitting the fan right now is a big push for the collective to shift. I mean, it's like, it's just time. It's time. So
I suppose that's one positive we can pull out of it, is that humanity is wanting to shift. And, you know, I see every day you see and Amy and I are people that have to take news in small doses, or we really get super affected by it, and it changes by the hour. And of course, living here in the United States, you know, our government right now is absolute dumpster fire garbage.
Yep.
Never thought I would see this in my lifetime. And we all know people that live in other countries that are now being largely affected by this. And so, you know, as a human race, like, it's like, no one blames me personally for what's going on. But, you know, when I was in Europe a few months ago visiting our friends and family, I met so many other people from other countries. And the one question they all asked me was, how did this happen again? Or how did we get ourselves in this position again? And, you know, I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. It shifted one way in 2016, and then we had a nice long shift of a break. And now the shift is back and hitting the fan at light speed. And there's
2016
shit flying everywhere, all over the world.
Okay, that was his
Wasn't
last.
it?
That was his first term, right? 2016,
That shouldn't
and
have
then we
even
had
happened.
Biden in between. We have
I think it will. Well, yeah,
a Biden sandwich, right?
but now there's not a day that goes by where we don't hear something that you're just like, how and what and why. So living in the United States right now, it doesn't feel real to me. I think it's interesting that people look to the United States as a country to air quote follow or look to for whatever. And I have to largely disagree with that because we are unhealthy, we are poor,
Mm-hmm.
we can't pay for health care, and we can't afford to live here. Um, and now that is because of how the government is running the United States in that way. Now it is bleeding out into the world. And so the question is, how do we treat each other in this world that is doing what it's doing right now? And in spiritually speaking, it has its reasons. This all has its purpose and its meaning. For what I have no answer. I try to think about it, but I can't. I'm just sort of like in it with everybody else, but I so very much want good to prevail over the evil here. And when is it going to happen?
I feel a Star Wars moment coming with the resistance and the. I mean, really, if you look at the Star Wars stories, that's what we're in right now. And most of the country is a part of the resistance. We're trying to fight the empire. I think what's at the root of the shift is everybody being able to be humble enough to say, no matter what side of the political party spectrum you're on, everybody needs to set down their labels: Republican, Democrat, liberal. Everybody just needs to be unselfish enough, shift enough to be unselfish enough to lay down all their labels, everything, and take an honest look at what's happening in this country and come together for a common objective and a common purpose. And that is to bring the country back together again. I mean, what's happening now doesn't apply to any particular party. It is sheer and utter madness. And for the first time in this country's history, everybody just needs to come together. They need to set aside all their differences, all of their opinions, and come together to do what's right for humanity, for the country, and vote, vote, vote. If you're Republican, you might have to vote Democratic. You just might. And wouldn't that be the most unselfish thing to do to bring this, to heal this country? Because we are beyond political parties right now. And I think that's what the shift is asking us to do, is to come together, no matter what color you are, where you're from, what political party. I mean, at the end of the day, we all need to be able to live here, afford housing, have health care, afford eggs, afford gas. We have to be able to live and not be afraid to be here. I'm afraid to be here. The shootings that are happening, it's just, anyway, sorry, I'm ranting now. But I think that's what is at the root of this shift, is everybody being able to just lay down their stuff and come together for a common purpose. Can we be unselfish enough to do that?
It's true. Well, you say the political parties, I'm like, oh, there's a party and we all know who the frickin' clown is, the head clown at the party. It ain't Ronald McDonald bringing you burgers and fries.
We can't afford the burgers and fries.
Frickin' Cheeto Chucky. But it's so interesting. Like you say, like, Republican might have to vote Democrat. I'm so past and over. Like, lines and
Mhm.
labels and cut like blue, red, black, white, blah blah, freaking blah.
Mhm.
I am so past all of that. It's like as a human, you have a right to clean drinking water, food, healthcare, housing, childcare, all of that. And I know that there's a lot of countries that are not that aren't perfect either, but they do have those things sorted out, or most of those things sorted out, more so than we do here. I mean, case in point, I just had to cancel a colonoscopy that I really needed because I can't afford it. I can't afford to pay my
Yeah.
out of pocket expenses for it, which were going to be like almost $1,400. I don't have that in my shoe. So, in most other countries, you would pay a fraction of that to have that done, or the amount of time like you spend in a hospital for something, or the care that you receive. It astounds me sometimes, like, oh, they're paying such high taxes in these countries. And I'm like, yes, they are. But the taxes are being put, for the
To
most
good
part, in
use.
places. Exactly. I mean, misappropriation of funds in the United States is doesn't even begin to cover the crap that's going on. I am baffled and confused as to why I'm like ready to start like this vigilante group for like humanity. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
anything about politics. I am the most unversed, if that's even a word, person politically, but I do know what's right and what's wrong. And I do know that everything that is going on in this country right now in our government is wrong.
Wrong. Yeah.
I,
Again, going back to the shift. We need to shift toward what's right. I mean, we can't continue to ignore this, you know? We just can't. And we don't want to label red, blue, blah, blah, blah. But you can see the shift happening in a lot of what were traditionally red states. I mean, blue is winning. People who are Republican are voting Democrat. The states are shifting. So that says to me that people are waking up, and the shift, little by little, is happening to the majority. It's just we are so in deep now. It's like I every day I ask myself, we have a constitution. Where are all the people that are? Where are the checks and balances that the United States is known for in a democracy? How can we allow these people to subsist in the government? I just including the president. There's got to be something in the bylaws that says, I don't know. I it just so every day I ask myself why, but um it's just sheer crazy. But we can all make a difference little by little if we do allow ourselves to shift towards what we know is right, what's right for people, and not right for you, but right for us as a country, and right for our communities, our children. It's got to do it, or else we're toast. Anyway,
we're in the shift.
we'll be down the shifter.
But I think also, like, just in daily life, because clearly, like, especially, I mean, I'm not going to say this for everywhere cuz I'm not everywhere, but where I live, I notice there's like this hum or this energy when I'm out in the world, and I drive around all day doing deliveries and grocery shopping for people, and I can tell you, like, it's I feel it so deeply, where I feel like Americans generally have this really messed up sense of entitlement. It's not all Americans, but I think there is a, not a label, a feeling there that, oh, Americans just do whatever they want. But driving on the road, walking down the street, shopping in a grocery store, whatever you're doing, I would just really encourage everybody to still be kind and mindful and polite and courteous. And I am that way to a point where people look shocked Or I'm just like, oh, you have a wonderful day. Thanks for your help. I really appreciate you. And they look at me like, have you lost your mind? I'm like, also, yes, true. But in a good way, because it's like I can do that, and it's like the t-shirt says, kindness is free. In a world where all this shift is hitting the fan, kindness is free. It will always be free. And I think the only way to shift this back into more love centered and positively centered is to be on that train of humility and kindness and courtesy. And don't be a dick is what I'm saying. Don't be a dick out there in the
Yeah.
world.
Yep.
Don't do it. There's no reason. Whether the United States was in a dumpster fire or not, this is how we should all be living our lives. But it takes an experience like this where, like, I spend more time at home because I just feel like being out in the world sometimes, unless I'm around a tree or something, I need more peace in that. And that's the other part of this. I'm craving more nature than I ever have.
Yeah.
So we look at what's going on with the oil in the world and wars that have no reason for them, shootings that are happening in schools, what's happening in Gaza, like all this stuff for humanity is just like sometimes I envision Mother Nature like pulling herself out of the earth and being like, girl, you guys are gonna get it now, and she's just gonna smack us all down with something. It's not personal, but who I think should be running the world? And you all can laugh at me or stop listening to the podcast. Man, that gal Greta Thunberg, she is in fuego. I mean,
know.
she's on the spectrum and all of that. She's been an activist. She was like 9, I think, or something. But she's dropping f-bombs on social media. I'm like, get it. I want her to run the world.
Yep. No, it's so true. The state of the country right now, I think, is finally, I can't say this about everybody, but I think the vast majority, there's been an awakening, and that needed to happen. If we can look at maybe why all this is happening, sometimes the universe just has to give us a big smack upside the head, and this is a doozy to just wake everybody up, change where this country is having a true tower moment, like the major arcana, the tower card with all the people flying out of the burning. I mean, structures are crumbling to the ground, and they're going to have to be rebuilt. And the only way we're going to do that is if people, they shift with this tower moment, and that's what the tower card asks us to do. The foundation a lot of times is taken out from underneath us, and we have to rebuild it, hopefully into something better. This is on such a large scale, though, that it's going to take some time. I just feel sorry for the next president of the United States. Man, is that person going to have just freaking clean up, man. So many things. It's just unbelievable.
Funny you talk about like the tower, and earlier you referenced Star Wars. I was thinking also about the Hobbit movies, with like
Right.
in Mordor with the giant tower with the eye of Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's like, Frodo, just get that ring into that bitch and toss it into the fire. And then the whole thing, like, all of evil crumbles and the sun comes out and let's all go drink ale in the frickin' Shire. That's what I want.
I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that easy. But it's true. It's the crumbling of an empire. It really is. It's just like Star Wars when in the last trilogy, the Rise of Skywalker, Exegol, and the what's his name, Palpatine, get blown to smithereens for once and for all, and it's because the Resistance came together. I don't know, for those of you who've either seen the movie or not seen the movie or whatever. I mean, at the end, when the resistance is just flying around like no one's coming to help us, no one's coming to help us, it's a lost cause. And all of a sudden they flip around and it's like every spacecraft in the universe it is there now to help fight. It's like at the end of the movie, everybody was there to help the cause. And it's, I feel like that's what we need now. It's like we need to shift out of fear. We need to shift out of our own heads and our own agendas and just do what's right for the greater good.
To say too, and this is sort of on and off topic, it's debatable, but something that I've really become aware of, especially here in the United States, is our food supply and how capitalism has become involved in that. And what I was alarmed at is like 80% of the food companies in the United States are owned by like 4 or 5 different large companies that are absolute devils that don't care about the earth, that don't care about labor practices or anybody but themselves. And so it makes me sad that brands that you used to trust now are owned by like Kellogg's and Colgate and Nestle and all this stuff, meaning that these companies that had such a beautiful vision to create a product that was better for you and the environment couldn't keep up with all the capitalism, and they sold out. They sold out. And so it actually is quite evil when you think about it. And so one of the shifting things that I'm going to be doing, and you can do it wherever you live, because well, if you're in Europe, you're all set with this because there's constantly like open air markets, but the farmers markets are about to really kick into high gear here where I live. But I'm going to source out and commit to once a week buying my produce from a farmer's market and not buying it from a grocery store. Is it going to cost me more money? Probably. But I will know 2 things. One, I'm not getting something that's laden with pesticides. And
Yeah.
2, I'm going to be supporting a farmer, a local farmer that's trying to do the right thing. And I mean, we are so like sold by the inexpensive price and this looks great, so I'll buy it. And we are making ourselves sick. We are making ourselves fat.
Yep.
And it baffles me that there are countries that sell products in Europe or other countries and the United States, but the other countries other than the United States don't have the banned ingredients in them. They put them all in our food. And I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. And then we can't afford health care when we're sick.
Yeah. Well, that's how the money cycles around, right? But the outside of this country, their standards, I don't care if it's for food, cosmetics, so much more stringent. I mean, the European Union, let's just take cosmetics for example. There's something like 12 to 1500 ingredients in cosmetics and shampoos and whatever that the EU will not allow, that it is allowed by the FDA in this country. Even shopping for some shampoo and face wash and stuff, it's like you have to be like uber careful because we have the FDA, but I'm not quite sure
who's running that.
Well, that person was probably fired like everybody else. There's probably nobody running it right now. It's just amazing to me how this country, and what it all comes down to is money at the end of the day. I'm not saying the FDA is all bad. We need it. We need the USDA. We have organic standards and that sort of thing. Is it as good as it could be? No. But there is some good there too. But at the end of the day, it's about money. Where's the money coming from? It's crazy, and we need to shift little by little if we can, and put more demand on local farmers and companies that put out products in the store, that knowing how to read labels and to avoid certain brands and put the demand on the good guys, the guys that are not using glyphosate and whatever. Yeah, it's a daunting task, but I think if we all just kind of pick one or two things and just not buy them anymore or shift to another, even though it might be a few cents more, we need to shift demand somehow. It's getting frightening, but we're the most affluent, largest country in the world, and we are sicker than ever, and our democracy is falling apart. Um, we're sicker than ever because we can't. Half the people in this country can't get health care; they can't afford it. Um, and it's because of a lot of it's lifestyle related, food related, and it's not happening in Europe. I mean, when you look at the studies, it's just unbelievable the difference. I specialize in diabetes. You would not even believe how they handle diabetes in Europe compared to what they do here. I go to conferences and I listen to endocrinologists from other countries, from Belgium and whatnot, do compare and contrast to what they do in their country versus what's done in the United States. And it makes you cry, it makes your jaw drop. It's unbelievable how we can be so big and powerful and not be, what's the word I'm looking for? And have that not be true and be so like, I don't know. I don't even know what the word is.
No, it's true. I mean, we go to Europe to hang out with friends and family, and I eat like twice the amount of potatoes and pasta and bread and cheese and chocolate and all that crap. I don't gain any weight. I feel great. Doesn't infect my inflammation, like nothing. And
Yep.
it's based on ingredients and the same products you buy here and over in Europe. You might look at the back of the bottles and be like, they're complete. You will never find a can of soda in Europe that says high fructose corn syrup. It will always say sugar, even the smallest of the cans.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm trying to say with the food thing is like sometimes grocery stores to me, I don't know how else to put this. They almost feel like drug dealers with what they're selling on the shelves with the products that, oh my God, this is so good. It's because it's lighting up your brain the same way like snorting a line of cocaine would do. But it's like with these modified food products and the sugar and the enriched flours and the corn syrups and all this crap.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. I would just encourage people to shift by maybe making your own things. Pick one or two things that you would normally buy at the store and maybe see if you could make it at home with simple ingredients or things in your pantry.
Yeah.
Or maybe once or twice a month, source out your local farmer's market and just take your kids, take your dog, go have an experience, go outside, connect with people. That is humanity. And let me tell you, those farmers that are growing the food, they're the ones that are going to outlast us because they're growing food. they're growing all their deuce. But anyway, before we wrap up, and Amy, you had no idea that I was going to do this. I actually wrote a poem for this podcast episode.
Such a poet, you don't know it. You're so
I
good
know
at
it's
this.
I spend a lot of time driving around during my day, and sometimes when I'm parked for a few minutes, I'll like one line will pop into my head, and then in 10 minutes I have a poem. I don't know where it comes from, but I wrote a poem entitled When the Shift Hits the Fan. I wrote it for this episode.
Oh, well then lay it on us.
Here we go. Okay. When we see and feel the shift hit the fan, that's a clear indication there's a need for a new plan. Don't panic. Don't freak out. This is all we need to know. Forward is the best and only direction to go. Demons with political powers have created chaos with poor decisions made, and humanity is now suffocating with the prices to be paid. It's not only humans paying the price. What about the earth, oceans, and animals all being stripped of anything nice? What I see in this world of despair is in banding together, we will start to repair. Let us remove the demons and the capitalism that they feed. Let the universe decide how to punish their greed. How can this wrong be undone? How do we right everything so we can say we have won? As a collective, we have an infinite, abundant source. Humanity stands together simply to say, love is the most powerful force, and I choose love.
That was, you need to publish that. That
You didn't even
was
see
like,
that coming.
I didn't. That was like amazing. That was amazing.
You just all think I'm piss and vinegar over here. I've got substance, people.
I just think it's funny that I wore a shirt today. It's a Disneyland shirt, but it says keep moving forward to a new tomorrow. I mean, it's about Tomorrowland and the people mover, but I think it's funny that I wore this shirt for this, because you talked about moving forward in your poem.
It always makes me think, like, when you see a grasshopper, they can't move back. They can only move side to side and forward. So if you ever see a grasshopper in nature, that's a sign, like, forward, bitches.
Absolutely.
Do you have homework for the humanity out there?
Oh, this episode was a little loaded today. And as always, Suzie and I don't script anything except for her poem, which I didn't know that was coming. That was beautiful.
Surprise!
So I hope, we didn't get a little too fired up here. But a couple things. I just kind of going back to what Suzie mentioned, maybe pick one or two things that you can source at a farmer's market that you could make at home. Try to make a meal where nothing really has a label on it. Any food that doesn't have a label on it, especially from a farmer's market, that doesn't have ingredients, is going to be healthier for you. Maybe see if you can do that a couple times over the next week or so. And then the other thing is take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I do? How can I contribute to moving this country forward to a better place? Whether it's voting for someone maybe you thought you wouldn't vote for, or whatever, but just try to ask yourself, what can I do? As little as it may be, what can I do to help move this country forward and make it more humanity centric? That's all.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, it's funny when you were talking about the food thing. You said something to me years ago that runs through my head. And it's so simple because I do have a simple mind. But it's eat things that come from plants, not made in plants, like industry food.
Right.
So lower on the food chain, stuff like that. I don't know. That always runs through my head.
Eat as close to the earth as you can. And that goes for animals as well. Chicken, fish. But if you do eat animal, try to make sure that they're humanely treated. They're pasture raised, grass fed. They had a good natural life before they landed on your plate. So little things like that. And yes, it can be a little more expensive, but you know what? It makes a huge difference, not only to the planet, our economy, and it makes a huge difference to your health too. Huge difference. Because whatever that animal eats and you eat the animal, that's what's going in your body. That's a whole other podcast. There, I said it. Got it in there at the last second.
Yeah, you did. And, maybe we do need to start getting a little more political, just teeter on that. There's a lot to talk about there, and I think it helps people to hear it. Well, they're nodding vigorously while listening to the podcast.
Maybe it'll give them permission to shift, which is what we want. I don't know.
True that. All right, let's end this sucker because we're way past time. Don't give up on us. We're going to end it now. Anyway, thank you for being with us on this journey. As always, we know what old Nana would say.
Be true to yourself.